Okay, I'm going to take you on a very rare journey inside of my actual real estate portfolio. And the most important part of this episode that we're going to go through together right now is what you can do at the beginning of 2026 to reset and get ready for the year ahead. So we're going to talk about what the year was like in 2025 and why real estate investors did the same things they did and what you should do going forward in 2026 in this tumultuous upside down market that we're in. And we're going to get into it right after this.
Hey, my name's Ken, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America. And I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you're hearing this episode on your drive to work or you're watching this YouTube video because this is going to be a very, very unique episode for sure. Listen, one of the things I love the most about building my real estate portfolio is the time that I get to spend with each of you. And I literally feel that I'm one of the most transparent people that you're ever going to find in the real estate game. I'm going to give it to you just like it is. And I do this for several reasons. Number one, thousands of investors who are investing in our projects are following me on my YouTube channel. And I use this as an update for each of them to be able to tell them exactly what's happening with the resorts, when they're opening, what's happening day by day in all of them. So I'm going to talk about the Lake St. Peter Resort, the Calabogie Resort, the Hay Bay Resort, and the Chelton Beach Resort right now. I also know that millions of real estate investors and millions of people wanting to get into real estate investing are following me all the time on social media and on YouTube and getting help just by these videos to build their portfolio. So what I want to do is share with you what happened with my portfolio in 2025 and the mistakes that I made and the things I did right, and now how I'm fine-tuning everything to open up 3 different resorts in 2026 and really bring this whole thing to life. Well, as everybody knows, in 2025, it was a bit of a crazy year. We all went into the beginning of 25 thinking that it was going to be the breakthrough year where things were going to come back, where prices were going to come down, the market was going to get more active. That's what all the pundits said at the beginning of 2025, that everything was going to work out and everything was going to be better. And you know what? They were all wrong. 25 was a hard year. It was a crazy year. Values kept going down through the whole year. Just in the province of Ontario alone, over 10,000 condos were defaulted on, pre-construction condos. And I'll be honest with you guys, I fell into that trap. Back in 2021, I bought a couple pre-construction condos in the town that I live in, and I bought them a 2-bedroom for $800,000 and a 1-bedroom for $700,000. Well, it took about 2 years for them to finish the project, and when it finally came to the point where I was going to take over those condos and own them, I had to get another appraisal done based on the real market value because I was financing the properties, just like millions of other Canadians do. Well, when those appraisals were done, that 2-bedroom unit that was worth $800,000 when I bought it was now only worth $650,000. And that 1-bedroom unit was worth $600,000. It was devastating. I already had about 5% of the total, about $80,000 invested in the project. I had made arrangements to borrow the money to finish the purchase, but that was at the old values. So even with these new values, there's no way I could have been able to figure out the financing on this. So I ended up having to walk away from it, and I lost that $80,000. Now, some friends of mine warned me that if I did that, that the builder could sue. Well, it just so happened that the company that I bought these condos from, that was the builder in this case, happened to be one of the more reputable builders, and they were going through this with tens of thousands of people for sure. And so they weren't going to go and start suing any one person. In that project, there's 150 units and they're still trying to sell 40 of them. They're in an even worse place than the individual people are. And it's all because of the economy. And throughout the year, the same thing happened to me 3 different times. So in my portfolio right now, we have 5 different resort projects that we're building. I also have 7 short-term rentals in the country, cottages, and I have 4 short-term rental apartments in the city. And I have a duplex and a single-family home on top of that. So with my whole portfolio, in 2025, there were several of these properties that were scheduled to be refinanced. So that's what we do. We go out and we get financing in place. We pay that financing out of the money we make on the property, and at the end of the term, we refinance it. Well, the values on all of my individual holdings, the houses and fourplexes and cottages, all dropped by about 30% in Ontario in 2025. And so I'll give you an example. I have a fourplex in Whitby that we're doing short-term rentals with. We've stopped now completely. When I bought that property, I bought it for $1 million. We put $650,000 into it. We borrowed all the money. The reason we did that is we had an appraisal done right up front called an ARV appraisal, an after repair value appraisal. Well, that appraisal came in at $2.5 million. So the deal made sense. The underwriting worked. I was going to invest a total of 1.6. It was going to be worth 2.5. When it was finished and worth that, I could go to a bank, get a new first mortgage for 1.7, 1.8, pay off all my lenders, and we'd be happily ever after. Well, it took us 9 months to do the renovations. When that renovation was finished, on all 4 units and the property, we paved the driveway. I mean, we did everything to this place. The value on the appraisal came back at 1.7, and I couldn't refinance it. This happened to me 4 different times with 4 different properties. And so because of that, we're selling. So I'm selling the fourplex, I'm selling the duplex, I'm selling the single family home. They're all listed right now. And the reason I'm doing that is I can't refinance them, but I got to get the lenders back their money. I've never lost a lender's money in my entire career, and I'm not going to start now. Now, the mortgage is due on that, so we got to hustle. So there's a really good deal on a fourplex in Whitby if anybody's interested in doing that. Okay, so coming into the end of 2025, there is a lot of bullish reports on what 2026 is going to be. And most people believe that in 2026, through the first half of the year, we're going to see the same type of environment that we saw in 2025. But towards the last part of 26, we're going to see further rate cuts. We're going to see things change, and hopefully the market lights up again. But unfortunately for me, I can't make decisions on what we think things are going to be like in the future. I have to make decisions. And you as a real estate investor, you have to make decisions based on what the environment is like now. You have to make decisions based on math, on underwriting. Never let your emotions or what you believe get in the middle of making a real estate decision. So the decision we made at the end of the year is that we were going to sell everything. So I can literally sell the house I have in Oromadante, the fourplex in Whitby, the duplex in Oshawa, sell those properties and focus on the 4 major resort projects. We were even looking at buying a 5th resort project in Ontario. We backed out of that deal. We lost some money because we did, but I had to simplify this. Why did we back out of that deal? Because we looked at a property that I got emotional about, and we had some financing that was coming together, but we were overwhelmed by locals in that area who were in a Facebook group and online saying how much they hated the idea of us building a resort at that property, even though it looks like it was built for that. And so we saw all that feedback, and then we were in communications with the township in the area. And we got a call one day from one of the administrators in the township, and she yelled and screamed at me on the phone. So when we looked at the public sentiment, the way we were being treated, even before we owned the property from the town's administrators, we backed away from that deal. But that was part of a bigger decision we made. Right now, where we're at with our portfolio, we have 4 resort projects that we're working on. We have the Lake St. Peter Resort, just north of Bankrupt, Ontario. We have the Hay Bay Resort, which is in Napanee, Ontario. We have the Calabogie Escapes property in Calabogie, Ontario, and the Chelton Beach Resort in Prince Edward Island. This is not, it's not a resort, it's a spa. It's going to be amazing. That's the core of our business. That is why we started Cottage Dream Vacations and what our mission is. So with the upside down tumultuous state that the market is in and the decrease in valuations, I realized it was an opportunity to take advantage of this. And this is the way you need to think as a real estate investor. Whatever you're doing, you've got to be thinking about ways that you can take advantage of certain circumstances that are going on. Hey, listen, if you're thinking about getting into real estate investing, if you're somebody who is a real estate investor and you're saying, what should I be doing? You've got some cash and you're saying, what should I be doing this year? I'm going to tell you that you should go out and start buying, especially if you're in Ontario, because values are down 30 to 40%. But if you're in a situation like I am, where you've been at it for a while and you've got a mixed portfolio, you need to simplify. That's my biggest piece of advice for 2026. Simplify what you're doing and go back to your core, what your plan was. Put a real good plan together and get projects finished. That's what I'm doing. So up at Lake St. Peter, we've got 5 cottages on that property that are going to be finished by the end of March. They're going to be furnished and ready to rent by the end of April. They're going to open on May 1st. That's going to give us a property up there that's got a beautiful beach. It's got a marina with boat docks. We're going to have fuel services there so we can fill up those boats. We're going to have a bar and barbecue on the beach, and we're going to open that resort. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have 2 other cottages on the property, so we're going to start with 7 cottages. That'll be phase 1. It'll start to make really great money. It's also going to buy 2 of our tiny home properties, so it'll actually have 9 cottages under management as part of that folio. And that'll also, by doing that transaction where we sell 2 cottages to Lake St. Peter, it's another way that we're paying off the debt on those properties because of the value decreases. And then we can start to pay royalties to the lenders in that project. Up at Calabogie, we've raised sufficient capital to get the 3 chalets, the 3 all-season cottages finished. The 5 existing cottages that are just summertime cottages, they're very old, but they're really cute. We're going to leave those, and we're going to open the property in May with those 5 cottages and the 3 ones. So 8 cottages. And we're going to build our housekeeping building so we can do laundry. And we're going to put a little music venue on the beach with a stage and plugins and a bar. We're going to put a fence up along the property line. And then we're going to start building the new owner's house. We're going to seek approvals from the town's council to turn that into a 25-seat Italian restaurant and welcome center. And we're going to put a 2nd floor on it with 4 more hotel rooms. So we expect to start that in May, get all the outdoor work done before the heavy summer season starts, and then have it finished by the fall. And then once the summer is over at Calabogie, we're going to take the 5 cottages down and replace them and be finished with the project. So we're changed the order of Calabogie a little bit, but things are coming together there as well. Out in Prince Edward Island, I'm so excited to finally get this project going. We are raising capital for the Prince Edward Island project now. We've got about 30% of the money raised. That money is all coming into the operating company in the next 30 days. We're going to clean up some debt out there. We're going to sell our 3 McCardle Road properties to the resort, which is way it should have been in the first place, and we're going to start moving forward there. By this summer, we could have as many as 15 cottages renting at the resort in PEI. But what I'm excited about is all 4 of our properties are going into revenue, are opening this year. The Hay Bay Resort, we're just getting all of the final financing for phase 1 finished, and the construction team should be back on site in the next couple weeks of the time of this video. And I'm excited about that as well. So what's the moral to this story? The moral to the story is, if you're brand new to real estate investing, you're just thinking about getting in it, this is an amazing time to start, especially if you're in Ontario or east of Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland. Why? Because values are down. Out west, Manitoba values are down. Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia values haven't moved too much. But if you're in any of those places I mentioned first, basically central to eastern Canada, great time to buy. Great time to get into real estate investing. If you're in real estate investing now and you're struggling with any part of your portfolio because the valuations have gone down or the economy is slow, think about offloading these properties. Remember, one of the most important pieces of advice that my mentor has ever given me: everything is for sale all the time. The best way to solve a problem with a real estate portfolio is sell it. Now, if your emotions get in the way, you're going to be like, oh man, if I can just hold on to this, the value is going to go up. I'll make so much money. Yeah, there's an old saying, He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. There's always going to be real estate deals. There's always going to be ways you can make money. Do the smartest things for your portfolio today. Do the smartest things for the investors you have today. Make those investors happy. Prove to those investors that you're taking their money seriously by selling assets and focusing on your core. And that advice I just gave you, I was actually giving to myself. And I was giving notice to all of our investors in all of our projects. You're going to see 3 of our Ontario projects open and start operating in time for this summer. And you mark my words on that. I know I've said things in the past that have changed because financing fell through or something happened, but we're on track now. I'm excited about it, and we're getting ready for the future.